Hey guys, Justin here, and I wanted to make a video to show a couple of eBay purchases that I've made in the past couple weeks. Normally I don't do videos for my eBay purchases just because I literally get something in the mail, every other day, something I bought on eBay, and it's never much, just me building my collection one game at a time. It's not worth making a video over. But in the past couple weeks I managed to spend over $150 on just 2 games. And which sounds crazy, and it is pretty crazy actually, but I actually think I got a couple of really good deals. Now one of them I got in the mail a few days ago, so obviously I already went ahead and opened that one. And this one I actually got in the mail today, and I actually already went ahead and opened this. I did not want to do it on camera, just because if it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, you guys might have seen me start crying or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'll just go ahead and I'll show the first game I picked up. I got a copy of Magic Knight Rayearth for the Sega Saturn, and this is a game that I've been wanting complete for pretty much since I started doing videos here on YouTube. If you look way back on this channel, one of the first videos, I bought a lot of supposedly defective merchandise from this company online. It was all Sega stuff, and there was a bunch of games in there, and it actually had a copy of this game in there. Unfortunately it was disc only. But what was fortunate is that the disc was like flawless condition and the game worked perfect. So it must have just been like a customer return or something. I don't know why that was in there, but at the time I was really excited. I had a really rare Sega Saturn game. I didn't care that it was just loose disc, but I never got around to playing through it. Something about not having the original case and manual. You can call me crazy if you want, I guess, but I don't know. I just really wanted to have a complete copy of it. So I've been keeping my eye out for that for like the last year or so. It's just such an expensive game. It was actually the last game released for the Sega Saturn in the U.S. anyway, which obviously makes it pretty rare. And on top of that, it's a Working Designs RPG, which also probably adds considerably to the value. But I guess I'll go ahead and explain how I came about this. So it was like Thursday night at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm up on eBay. What else is new, I guess. And I'm looking at the newly listed Sega auctions. So I just searched Sega and sorted it by newly listed, buy it now only. And I'm scrolling down the page and I come across this game. And it had a buy it now price of $80 on it, and a starting bid of $60 with free shipping. And my first thought was, I think that's a pretty good deal for that game, So quickly I went to some completed eBay listings and I searched the game, and sure enough saw that it was going, $90, $100, and in absolutely mint condition a little bit more, like $110. So I went back to this one and I clicked on it, and the first thing I noticed was that there was no picture of the game. It just had one of those generic stock cover photo up things. I can understand using one of those if you're selling like a $2 game or something, but when you're selling like an $80 game or a $100 game, I don't understand why a seller wouldn't want to take a picture to show exactly what a buyer would be receiving, because all else is going to happen is that you're just going to get a bunch of questions from potential buyers asking for pictures. So I don't know why there was no picture, but I went down to the description, and right away I could tell that it was a lady that was selling it. I could tell that she was a collector just by the way she was talking about the case. She said that the case was in like mint condition, there was no cracks in it, and it is in pretty good condition. There's a couple scratches on it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's like a mint condition case. And she also went ahead and started talking about the manual, and she mentioned that the manual still had the original stickers in it. And these are actually pretty cool. I'll go ahead and show these. There's a bunch of stickers, characters in the game, and those are still in there. That's pretty cool. It's also even got the registration card still in there. So, this really is like a mint condition copy of this game. And also in the description, she said that she had a bunch more Sega Saturn games that she wasn't going to be listing on eBay, but to inquire about if anyone was interested. So I went ahead and I bought this for $80. And right afterwards, before I paid for it, I sent her a message and I said, what were you looking to get for those other games? And she had literally every Sega Saturn RPG. I'm pretty sure she had every single one, including Panzer Dragoon Saga, which for those of you who don't know is like a $240 game for a complete copy. That's that's ridiculous, but that's what it goes for consistently on eBay. She had that. I'm trying to think. She had Guardian Heroes, House of the Dead, Resident Evil, and like all the RPGs. And then she even had a copy of Snatcher for the Sega CD. And so I was really excited, because I was like, I got a good deal on this one. She's going to give me some good prices on these other ones too. And so she sent me a message back, and unfortunately, the prices she gave me were even like above eBay retail prices. I don't know where she got the numbers from, but the only one she gave me a decent price for was House of the Dead, and she wanted $50 for it. It's like a $90, $100 game, so I was really tempted to buy it, but I was like, I'm already dropping 80 on this, and for some reason, something was just telling me, you know, House of the Dead's going to be one of those games that I find in like a Craigslist deal or something, so I was like, I offered her 40 for it, and then, you know, she was kind of like, oh, okay, well, I think I'll just hold on to it, and I was like, oh, you know, I didn't really care, I wasn't disappointed, I don't regret not buying it, I'll get it eventually. So, I went ahead and, like I said, I bought this, and the main reason I was willing to spend $80 on it is because I had that disc-only copy of it. Because I knew I could sell that and, you know, at least pay for some of this. Obviously, I'm not going to get all my money back, but at least pay for some of it. And that's actually what I ended up doing. I wish I still had it to compare to this one. I'll explain that in a minute. But I actually went ahead and I sold it on eBay. And in the end, I got this for $20. I could not believe it. I sold disc only, and I had the manual for it as well. Between the time I got that and now, I had ordered the manual for it online. I don't know why. My rationale was just kind of like, okay, well, when I eventually sell my disc only copy, I'll probably get considerably more for it with the manual, and I did. I listed it for $50 with a buy it now of $60, and I would have been content with $50. That's kind of what I was shooting for. That's what I wanted for it, and it took a few days, but somebody actually bought it for $60. And I was really surprised. And on top of that, I didn't have to pay any like eBay final value fees or anything. I had no 9% eBay fees or anything like that. Because I listed it under a special eBay promotional offer, they sent me like an invitation, and I could list one item. If I listed it from like a mobile app or like my phone, I wouldn't have to pay any, you know, insertion fees, any final value fees or anything. So this was the most expensive game I had to list at the time, or my loose disc was. So I listed it with my phone, and it sold. So essentially I got the whole $60 for it pretty much. So essentially I paid $20 for this, and I could not be happier. And what just puts the icing on the cake is when I got this, I opened it up and I was pleasantly surprised because, let's see, I'll show you the disc. This is the disc that came in it. I mean, obviously it's a Magic Knight Rayearth disc, but when Working Designs made this game, they made I think 3 or 4 different disc variations, different disc prints. And the one I had before, the one that I sold on eBay, that's why I said I wish I would have kept it so I could compare them on camera, but it was actually green. And to be honest, I did like that disc art better than this red one here. But the reason I kept this one is because, well, it's actually kind of a conspiracy, I guess. Some people believe that when Working Designs made the game, they made equal amounts of each disc print, so they're all equally as rare. But other people believe that they made different amounts of each disc print. And no one really knows the true answer to that, and I'm sure no one ever will, but for everyone that agrees that they made different amounts of each disc print, they all collectively agree that the red one is the rarest one. And like I said, I'll never really be able to confirm that. The only thing I really have to go off of is the fact that I've been looking for this game for a year, and I've never seen the red disc print on eBay. I've seen the green one that I sold is really like the only one I've ever seen on there, so you know, I don't know exactly what. I think they made a blue one as well, but that's the only one I've ever seen on eBay. So this, I'm really glad that to hang on to this one, and I'll take the chance that this one's more rare than the green one. So anyway, that was that. $80 for that. Really happy. Can't wait to play through that one. Now, a few days later, I was on eBay looking for another Sega Saturn game that I've wanted because it was another loose disc that I got in that Sega Saturn Goldmine video. Some of you might know what it is if you've seen that video, but it's another really rare Sega Saturn game. It was also one of the last 5 games released for the Sega Saturn, which is, you know, one of the reasons it's so rare. It's also an RPG, which probably adds to the value, you know. But I'm looking, and I see one that has just got posted like 7 hours prior. The auction was still at 1 cent. No one had bid on it yet, and I was kind of wondering why. So I clicked on it, and I kind of found out why. It had a reserve price on it, and normally I don't even deal with auctions that have reserve prices on it because, as far as I'm concerned, if a seller puts a reserve price on it, they might as well just start the auction at what they want for it, because that's essentially what they're doing. So normally I just, you know, ignore those auctions completely, but I just, you know, I scrolled down to the description. It didn't have a picture. Once again, didn't have a picture. Just had a stock cover art. But I scrolled down to the description, and it said, all it said was brand new, still in packaging. And my first thought was, okay, like, what does that mean? You know, because to me that means factory sealed, but to someone else it could mean just, you know, complete, like this one is. So I didn't really know what that meant. But there was no bids on it yet, so I actually messaged the guy and I said, you know, is there a price you'd take for this game right now? And literally like 2 minutes later, he sent me a message back. I was really surprised it was that fast. And he said, he's like, oh, well, someone earlier offered me 70, but I guess if you wanted it, I'd take 80 plus shipping. And my jaw just dropped. I was like, okay, well, regardless of whether it's sealed or not, $80 is still pretty much fair market value for this game. So, of course, I sent him another message and I asked, you say it's brand new, still in packaging. What is that? Does that mean factory sealed or what? And he's like, yeah, brand new in the seal from the factory. And I was like, okay, yeah, end the auction. I guess I'll take it for 80. Trying to play it cool a little bit, but so technically I bought it for 80, but it was I should have been thinking a little more than I was. It was such a sketchy deal if you think about it, because he just ended the auction, sent me his PayPal address, and said, send the money, I'll get the game sent out tomorrow. Well, so technically the deal wasn't through eBay anymore, and so, if I paid him the money and he didn't send me the game, there's really nothing I could do. I'm not covered through eBay's buyer protection, and I'm not covered through PayPal's buyer protection because the deal wasn't made on a PayPal certified site. So it was really kind of sketchy, and I kind of regretted it after I told him to end the auction. I was like, oh. But I did my best to legitimize the deal. I mean, obviously, I checked out his eBay score. He had a 29 eBay score. It was 100% positive feedback. Unfortunately, it was mostly stuff that he had just bought. He didn't really sell a whole lot. But he had one other Sega Saturn game listed at the time. It was like Iron Storm or something. And of course, he gave me his email address, so I emailed him. And before I paid, I obviously asked him for pictures. I was like, I'm sorry to bother you, whatever, but can you just please send me some pictures? And he was really nice about it. He sent me some pictures, and obviously I asked him where he got it. He said he used to work at Toys R Us. He bought it new from there, just never opened it. And in the end, I felt comfortable enough to send him the $84, and luckily he did send the game, and it got here pretty quick too, just a couple days. So I'll go ahead and show what it is now. I'm going to be very, very careful with this here, because it is actually a factory sealed copy of Shining Force 3 for the Sega Saturn. Now, the only thing that sucks about this deal is that there is no way I'm ever going to be 100% positive that this is a true factory seal, because every Sega Saturn, every company that made Sega Saturn games packaged them differently. And so it's literally almost impossible to tell the difference between, a reseal and a true factory seal. So I'll never be 100% sure, which sucks. But I was willing to take the risk because, like I said, even $84 for this, in this condition, like the case is in mint condition, so is pretty much, I got it for fair market value, even if it's not factory sealed. The red flag that I was throwing on this factory seal, even though he said he bought it from Toys R Us, new, like, who am I to believe him? There's no seam running up the back, which is common for Saturn games, and there's no hang tab. Usually there's a hang tab right here where they would have hung it up in a store or something like that. So that was the only red flag I was throwing. I guess, it's sealed on the bottom and up both sides, which I guess is better than it being sealed on the bottom and the top, because I think most reseals are done on the bottom and the top and the bottom. So that makes me feel a little bit better about it. I just, I'm obviously not going to open it. I'm going to treat this as a factory seal. I'm not going to open it, but I so want to open it because I'm looking in there. I mean, you can't really see through the case that well, but it's clear on the top, and you can see through the seal. There's some holes in there. Obviously, they're sealed over, but you can see through them a little bit. And I'm looking down in there. I had a flashlight. I was looking down in there, and I can definitely confirm that the Shining Force 3 disc is in there. The disc that's in there looks just like the loose disc that I have. So that's definitely in there. The weird part is I don't see a foam insert in there, and which I was under the impression that all Saturn games and all Sega CD games came with that foam insert to keep the disc from sliding around, and this one doesn't have one in it. I can see that clearly. So I don't know if some games didn't come with them or not. I mean, none of the listings on eBay for this game that have the original case have the foam thing. So I guess that makes me feel better about it as well. But I don't know if anyone knows if there was supposed to be an insert in here. Let me know. I don't know if they came in every single game or not. And also, between the manual and the game, there's another piece of paper. It's like another pamphlet, like a few page like manual kind of thing, I guess. And it's really bugging me what it is. You know what I mean? it's the only thing I can tell by looking through here is that it's printed in black and white, and I can see the Sega Saturn logo on it. It says Sega Saturn on it, and that's all I can tell. I mean, I'm sure it's just some stupid promotional offer or something that was in the game, but I just it's killing me that I don't know what it is. But I will probably never find out, you know, because I'm not going to open it. What I plan to do is probably just play through that disc-only copy I have, and then when I'm done with that, I will sell the disc-only copy and to help fund this a little bit. Unfortunately, the Shining Force 3 disc-only doesn't go for as much as the Magic Knight. I'd like to get 40 for it, but more realistically, I'll probably get like 30 bucks for it. But still, you know, $30 will help pay for this a little bit. I don't exactly know how much a sealed Shining Force 3 goes for. It's kind of hard to tell because there's not a lot of them to reference on eBay that have actually sold, you know. I did see a VGA graded copy of a sealed Shining Force 3 sell for $300. And first of all, I just like to say, what a stupid idea. Like, for anyone who doesn't know what VGA is, it's like a company that you send your games to, and they put them in like a protective thing, and they literally take a magnifying glass and grade it like you would like a coin or something like that. Like, what a stupid idea. Like, to be honest, when I knew this game was coming in the mail, I actually went to the VGA website and I looked up their prices for grading games. I was like, oh, I'll get my Shining Force 3 graded. And then I was like, this is so dumb. Like, why would you pay $25 to send your game away to someone who can take a magnifying glass to it and look for stress in the shrink wrap and then give you a grade and send it back to you? Like, that's so dumb. I don't know. Well, yeah, that one sold for $300. And then I saw another one that I think it was sealed, but it had a crack in the case and there was some rips in the shrink wrap, and that one sold for $200, I think. So I'm thinking this one's probably somewhere in between, you know, $200 and $300. it's just hard to tell, you know. But this one actually has, I had to take a flashlight to see it. On two of the corners, there's the tiniest bit of shrink wrap peeling. You're never going to be able to see it on camera, but I think this corner up here and then maybe one of these back corners, I can't even tell right now, but the shrink wrap is tiny bit of peeling. I don't think that really devalues it at all. Like I said, I needed a flashlight to see it anyway, but like I said, $84 for this. Hopefully worth somewhere between $200 and $300. I thought that was a pretty good deal. Like I said, I'm not going to open it. I'm going to find a way to protect it, to protect the seal. I just have to think of a good way to do that. But anyway, guys, sealed Shining Force 3 and Magic Knight Rayearth for a total of, what, $84 and $80, so $164. I'm happy though. Like I said, I made some of my money back, and I'll get some of my money back once I play through that Shining Force game. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. Probably the most valuable game in my collection now, I'd say, this Shining Force. I think I just said it in my in our Q&A video, my most valuable game was Earthbound. But now it's, I mean, assuming, you know, treating this as a factory seal, it's definitely this. Like I said, between $200 and $300 probably. So anyway, guys, thanks for checking out the video, and take care.